We have had a very busy day today. I've had a coach interview. It's only 11 a.m. I've already been busy. I had a coach interview. I think it went very well, and I was hilarious. They laughed constantly. It was actually something called a group interview. I've never been to one. It's actually rather nerve-wracking because there are three other people sitting next to you. And then, but the great thing was you could listen to their answers too, so you can make, and especially since I always was the last one to speak, I don't know how it happened, it just did. I always got to like add upon their answers and then like show them up by them. Like one girl kept talking about her one job, and it was like this most boring job. This like the most boring job ever. It was working in a jewelry store, and it was like, oh, and I had so much trouble one time. This guy wanted this ring, and I was like, it's a jewelry store. You're supposed to sell these things. But she was like, oh, but he wanted it in like 3 days, and I couldn't get it in 3 days. It was going to take like 4. And I wanted to strangle her. I wanted to reach over and strangle her, but I thought that might not go well in my coach interview because, you see, killing someone on an interview is like killing someone on a first date. It doesn't look very, it just doesn't look well for a relationship. Anyways, back to my coach interview. I was hilarious. It went well. Oh, but anyways, she was talking about her one job, and I kept like mentioning, oh, and I did this, and oh, I did this, and oh, I did this, and they seemed very impressed that I'd, had so many jobs and am still alive. I'm kind of impressed myself. So okay, hot topics. We have some very interesting ones today. You see, Jill Zarin added me on Twitter. You know, Jill Zarin, the New York City housewife, Real Housewives of New York City. That's what it is. She added me on Twitter. At first though, I was like really impressed. Like, oh my god, Jill Zarin added me on Twitter. She saw my blog. She loved it. And then looked at it. She follows 13,000 people. So it's not nearly as much of an accomplishment as I thought it was. And she added me on Twitter. Yay! I'm so happy. Okay, so knock that post-it note off. Okay, I saw this movie yesterday. It's called, or maybe it was the day before that. I don't know. It's called Seamless. It was done in like 2005, and I've never seen it. And it's all about fashion, and it came up on Netflix when I was after I finished or started watching V for Valentino or V for Vendetta, or so, I don't know. It has something to do with Valentino and his empire, and I don't know. I couldn't start it because I saw a picture of him and I laughed. He's got these like wrinkles because he does that all the time, I think. Okay, so anyways, Anna Wintour was in it, and she's like my hero, and she looked really good, and there were always her little pair of Chanel sunglasses sitting there. Okay, next we have a very interesting thing. It was on the cover of the Washington Post, or the Washington Times, or the Washington something. Betsy Bloomingdale told us why she wears off-the-rack things instead of wearing couture dresses. It's because they are cheaper. I know, it floors me. I don't know why this made the cover, or like the front page. It's like, okay, and? She was like, it talks about how she went to the Valentino show in Paris in like 1996, and she didn't buy anything, so she went walking around the streets of Paris and saw a store that had Valentino ready to wear, and then she tried it on and loved it. I don't understand why this is newsworthy. I really, really, really don't. Yes, her husband owns Bloomingdale's. Just not getting this. Okay, and then another one. This was on the New York Times. This one's good. This one's a very serious one. Very, very serious one. It was 10:30 a.m. in Paris it was during Fashion Week. I think it might be Fashion Week right now. I've gotten so out of touch. But it's 10:30 in the morning, and 3,000 guests were there, all dressed in Chanel. All dressed. Do you realize how much money that is? Like, just think each one's probably wearing at least $5,000 to $10,000 worth of stuff. So that's okay. Let's see, $5,000 to $10,000 worth of stuff. That's like a lot of money. And they all looked like amazing, so I think you should all go into the New York Times and look at that video. I don't remember what it was called, but it's like fashion something Chanel, like the shoot at Chanel. And there's some interesting pictures on there. A lot of them, actually, there were a couple. Most of them they all look really good because it's Chanel. It makes everyone look beautiful regardless. but some of them look better than others. Like there's this one guy, I think it was a guy, and he was wearing like this black jacket and this hat, and it wasn't a good combination in any regard at all. But anyways, 3,000 guests, it was amazing looking, amazing. I mean, just a sea of Chanel. I mean, just imagine Coco just on the edge of it, just doing this, parting the sea of Chanel. Yes, but she is dead. She died in the 70s. It's very sad. We all know that. It's very sad, very sad. So, on to fashion. At the Coach store, they had to sell an item, and I sold a pair of gloves to the people that were standing there. And I personally feel that gloves are very important. I mean, look on the Rachel Zoe website. I mean, she's wearing this pair of, like, fingerless Chanel gloves, and they're amazing. Oh, and my shoes that I wore to the interview. Okay. Aren't these, like, the most killer shoes ever? I mean, look at the detail work on them. I love these shoes. I love them, I love them, I love them. And that is my blog for today. We didn't have time for relationships today, and perhaps we will talk about that another time. You will just have to keep tuning in. Oh, and everyone should start following me on Twitter, because I am, like, getting to the point where I am on there, like, every 20 minutes or so. I mean, I don't tweet out every 20 minutes like some people do, but I am on there, like, constantly looking for someone to talk, or someone saying something. Like Anna Wintour this morning, she was like, it's a sleepy, but I have so much to do today. And I was like, oh my god, we're sharing something. I'm sleepy too, and I have so much to do. It was amazing. And Anna Wintour and I, like, we had a moment. We had a little moment together this morning. She didn't know it though. I hope she does. Well, that's all for today. Bye-bye.